Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Maria and today I'm doing a full face of makeup, some new to me products and other ones that are fairly new releases, and I've already done videos on a couple of these products, but I just wanted to revisit them again today. So I'm going to start off with primer, and this is the new Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer. And I did a video on this the other day, and I've also used it a couple of times since, and I really like this primer. It is fantastic for my oily skin. It gives a beautiful base and it just mattifies the skin, and it just helps foundation to just stay that bit longer throughout the day. It's really gorgeous. And I did notice that when I first used it with foundation, it made the foundation just that little bit more matte, and I didn't even need to powder it. So that's why today I wanted to revisit the brand new, it's the #1 Chanel, it's the Red Camellia Revitalizing Foundation, I think it's called, because I did do a video on that with a full day wear test, and in that video, once I put it on, I knew that I'd have to bake that foundation on, and by doing that it did last throughout the day. But I just want to see what that foundation's like with my oily skin using this primer, and to see if there's any difference, and perhaps it won't go on as dewy. I'm not sure, I haven't tried this combination yet. So for those of you that haven't seen the #1 de Chanel foundation, this is what it looks like. Comes in a glass bottle, has a pull off lid and a pump dispenser. I'm not going to go into any more detail about this foundation because I did a dedicated video on that. So I'm just going to put a couple of pumps on the back of my hand. That's the consistency of the foundation. It's not overly runny, it just starts to slide down my hand after a few seconds. Now I'm going to use the BK Beauty 101 foundation brush. Put this on just like I did last time. So this foundation is fragranced. It has a really beautiful scent though. So the last time I used this foundation, I loved the finish that it gave. I thought it was really beautiful, and it is buildable. But it'll just be interesting to see what it's like with this new Hourglass primer. So it's really interesting with the different primer underneath this new Hourglass one. It still feels like I need to powder it down, but it doesn't feel as glowy as the very first time I tried this foundation when I did that dedicated video. I knew then as soon as I put it on, I really had to bake a powder on, but I don't feel like I need to bake it this time. So it is summer here in New Zealand, and it is early in the morning, but it's still really warm. It's going to be a very hot day. That's why I decided to video early. The foundation feels really beautiful. It does feel different once I've put it on with that primer underneath. There's no doubt about it. I am loving this primer. I think I'm going to get a lot more use out of some of the other foundations that I normally keep for autumn winter. Going to be able to use them now in summer. And the foundation itself gives a really beautiful finish. I do really like this foundation. I think it gives a beautiful soft look to the skin. So now I'm going to just put some concealer on. I'll put eyeshadow primer on. I'll do my eyebrows, and I'll also just lightly powder my face, and then I'll be back and we'll put on some eyeshadow. So I've now powdered my face, and I used the Chanel Finish Loose powder. This is the translucent, one of my favorite powders. And I didn't bake it in, but I did buff it in using the Sonia G. This is the Face 1 brush. And it now feels really lovely. It's set it down. It hasn't gone to a flat matte or anything like that, but I think it's given a beautiful finish. So it'll be interesting to see how this primer works with this foundation throughout the day, just with buffing that powder in instead of baking it on. So I still have to put on some bronzer. So I'll use the Bobbi Brown bronzer. This is in the shade medium. I'm just going to use the Tom Ford bronzing brush to put that on. This is a lovely bronzer. I bought it for the first time not that long ago, and I've been using it quite a bit. I really like how it blends in, and I love this shade. I think it's really, really lovely. So for the eyeshadow today, I picked up the Bobbi Brown, the Golden Nudes eyeshadow palette. This has been around for quite a while, but for those of you that would like to take a look at the packaging, this is what it's like. It is really lovely. I do find that the Bobbi Brown packaging is really gorgeous, and I couldn't resist picking up a neutral palette from Bobbi Brown because, as I've said before in other videos, I think Bobbi Brown has some of the best, more neutral soft shades around, and I do enjoy the formula. So this does have a mirror in the palette, and here are the 5 shades. There are supposed to be a mixture of mattes, shimmer and metallic, but these to me just look like perfect type of neutral shades, and definitely ones that I would reach for as my everyday type of makeup. So as I said, this palette has been around for quite a while, so I'm not going to swatch these eyeshadows. There'll be plenty of other videos that show that. So I'm going to go straight into the shades. I'm going to take the Rapha number 15 brush, and I'm going to go into this shade here and start off with that. And they're quite pigmented. They look a bit darker on the eye than they do in the pan, but it does blend really well. It is beautiful, but definitely darker on the eye than what it looks like in the pan. So I'm going to use that same shade. This is the Sonia G soft shader brush, and since that shade is quite dark, I'm going to run that under my lower lash line. I may go over this a little bit with the darkest shade. I'm going to take the Sonia G Blender Pro, and I'm going to go into this shade here, and I'm just going to put that all over the lid. That is that's one of the shimmer shades, and blends really, really beautifully. Didn't take much effort at all to do that. I really enjoy the Bobbi Brown eyeshadows. I think the formulas are just gorgeous. They always seem to work really, really well. Then I'm going to take the Sonia G Mini Booster. I'm going to go into that darkest shade now. It looks like a really beautiful chocolate type of colour. And I just want to put this on the outer corner and a little bit more through the crease, just to give a little bit more depth there. Then we'll take the Chantecaille. This is the F06 brush, and I'm going to go into this shade here. This one is called Tiger's Eye, and it is supposed to be metallic. And I'm going to put that through here and just slightly above as well. Well, that shade is just really gorgeous. I'm just going to take the Blender Pro again, the Sonia G one, and I just want to add a little bit more of this chocolate shade in the corner because I don't want to lose that depth, and that's better, just to keep that colour there. And I am going to put some of this shade under my lower lash line as well, over top of that other shade that I put on. So I'm going to take the Rapha number 3 into that really deep shade, and they do call it black chocolate. And then finally I want to go into this lighter shade. This one is called Caramel Toffee, and they describe it as a shimmer wash. I'm just going to wipe down my Rapha number 3 brush. I want to put this in the inner corner. I think it'll just be fairly subtle. So that's the eyeshadow done using all the 5 shadows in this pan. I think they're really lovely. They blended beautifully, just really, really easy. You don't have to use all 5 shadows. You just use 1 or 2. They're all really beautiful shades. I do like that lightest shade that I've put through here, and I won't do it today, but I do think even putting it over top of, what do they call it? The Tiger's Eye, the metallic one that I put through here, I think that would look really beautiful. So if you just want to lift this color a little bit more, I think that light shade would look gorgeous as well. So now I'm going to put on some eyeliner. I could probably use the darker shade in this palette, but I have got a Bobbi Brown eyeliner, so I'm going to use it, and it'll go really well with this eyeshadow. And it is called the Perfectly Defined Gel Eyeliner, and this is in Chocolate Truffle. So I've now put my mascara on. I use the Chanel, this is the Le Volume one of my favourite, if not my most favourite mascara. And this was a backup I bought, and I just had to use up a couple of other mascaras that I had, or wait until they'd gone past their 3-month date. I give mascaras 3 months and then I throw them out, and I was dying to use this, and it's such a good mascara. I have missed it. I don't know, for some reason it separates my lashes, it gives volume, it doesn't transfer throughout the day. It's such a gorgeous mascara. But everything that I'm wearing today, everything that I've put on my face, including the concealer and the different powder that I use under my eyes compared to the powder that I put on my face, I will have all listed and linked in the description box below. So now I'll put on some blush. This is the new release Chanel one. Again, I have done a video on this where I used this blush and also the eyeshadows. This, and also from the Le Comet range, I used a blush from there as well. This is the Brun Rossi. This blush is beautiful. I just love the colour. It goes on just so beautifully. It's really, really gorgeous. So this is Brun Rossi, and it just seems a shame not to use it more, so I thought I would use it again in today's video because it's just really, really gorgeous. Such a beautiful, beautiful blush. I love it. This would have to be one of my favorites. It's just a really beautiful shade, and I do wear this a bit, especially when I go for a more neutral type of eye look. I think it's just stunning, that blush, just stunning. And now for the lipstick. This is the new to me, it's the Givenchy. It is number 16 in Nude Boys, and it's the Le Rouge Sheer Velvet. I don't know whether I've tried a Givenchy lipstick before. It comes in this really beautiful casing, this velvet, and a really beautiful dusty pink. It's just gorgeous. And here is the bullet. I'll just get that to focus. Here's the Givenchy logo on the bullet. Really, really lovely. So I think I'll put some lip liner on first. I have got one, I don't know whether I've got a shade very close to that lipstick, but this will probably do. This is a Laura Mercier lip liner, and it is in the shade Rosewood. I really love the shade of this lipstick. I think it's a really pretty shade, and I think it goes really well with the eyeshadows and also the Chanel blush. Really lovely. And I quite like the formula of this lipstick as well. It feels very soft, and I think it looks really nice on the lips too. So hopefully it lasts for a little while. Lipsticks don't often last that long on me, but if I can get 2 or 3 hours out of it without having to reapply it, that'll be really good. But really gorgeous packaging and really beautiful lipstick. As I said, it feels really lovely on, and a really, really pretty shade. I love it. I think it's really gorgeous. So that's it. I'm not going to put any more powder on because I want to see how this Chanel foundation does with this new Hourglass primer underneath. At this stage, it feels good. Maybe starting to shine through a tiny bit. It's hard to tell really, but it does still feel really nice. But even if I have to powder over it maybe a couple of times throughout the day, that's fine. The main thing is that because I didn't bake the powder on over top of the foundation, that the foundation sort of doesn't slide round and last during the day. It doesn't bother me if I have to pick up a powder, something like the Chantecaille, the blurring powder, a couple of times during the day and quickly buff that in. I'd use the Sonia G, the smooth buffer, or the Face One brush to do that. That's fine. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm used to doing that with my oily skin. But I do want to leave this as long as I can, just to see how this foundation lasts, as I said, with this new primer, because I am loving the Hourglass primer. I think it is fantastic. I love the Bobbi Brown eyeshadows. I love neutrals. I love the formula of Bobbi Brown. I know it's not for everyone, but I always have no issues with it. I just find they're easy, everyday, go-to type of shades. And you can even add a bit more depth with some of the neutrals, and you could even smoke it up even more if you wanted to for a really quick evening look. And the blush is stunning. The Bron Rossi, it is beautiful, and I may even buy a backup of that blush. It's just gorgeous. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye.